Jake, help me. The barista just asked me something and I completely forgot how to speak English.
Sarah, you've been learning English for 4 years.
I know, that's why this is embarrassing.
Okay, welcome back everyone. I'm Jake.
And I'm Sarah. And yes, what you just heard, that actually happened 20 minutes ago at the coffee shop downstairs.
Do you want to tell them what you ordered?
I asked for a medium hot the latte.
A medium hot the latte.
Ugh, don't laugh. She looked at me like I had 3 heads. And I know how to say it. I say it perfectly at home every single morning. Can I have a medium latte, please? Easy, simple. But the second a real human being is standing in front of me,
You freeze.
I completely freeze. My brain just static, goes offline.
Okay, so that is exactly what we're talking about today because, Sarah, you are not alone. And the reason this happens, it's actually really interesting and kind of surprising.
Please tell me it's not just me being stupid.
It's absolutely not you being stupid. In fact, it happens to some incredibly smart people, and there's a real reason for it. So let me ask you something. When you're at home, alone, practicing English, how do you feel?
Fine. Great, actually. I can talk, I can joke. Sometimes I think, wow, I'm actually pretty good at this.
And then you walk outside.
And then I walk outside, and suddenly I'm 5 years old again, standing in front of the class, and everyone is waiting, and I'm just standing there thinking, what is the correct grammar for this situation?
Okay. So you're literally running a grammar check inside your head in real time?
Every single time. Like someone says, how's it going? And I think, okay, do I say I am good or I am well? Is good an adverb here? Should I say fine, thank you, and you? Because that sounds textbook. But if I say not bad, does that sound negative? And by the time I figured it all out,
3 seconds have passed and the person is already walking away.
yes.
Okay, so here's what's actually happening, and this is important. It's not a language problem, it's a brain problem. Or not a problem, it's just how brains work.
How?
When you feel nervous or judged, like someone's watching you waiting for you to mess up, your brain goes into what's basically a mild panic mode. It starts burning a lot of processing power just on the stress itself, and that leaves less room for the language to flow out naturally.
So my brain is too busy being scared to actually speak?
Exactly. It's like trying to run a video game on a computer that's also running 50 other programs in the background. It just slows down.
Huh. So it's not that I don't know the words.
You know the words, you know the grammar, you just can't access them under pressure, not yet.
Exhales. Okay. That actually makes me feel slightly less like a failure.
Good, because you're not a failure. You're just untrained for pressure. There's a massive difference. All right, can we go back to the coffee shop situation because I want to actually work through it.
Do we have to?
We have to. Okay, so you walked in. What happened first?
Okay, so I walked in. I was actually feeling okay. I had it all planned in my head. Can I have a medium latte, please? Very simple. I practiced it.
Good start.
But then the barista, she was really fast. Like she was already talking before I even opened my mouth. She said something like, "Hi, what can I get for you? Are you paying by card today?"
Oh, she threw extra information at you.
In one sentence, and I was not prepared for that sentence. So now I'm trying to process what can I get for you, and are you paying by card, and trying to remember my latte order, and wondering if I should answer the card question first or the order question first.
And your brain just buffers.
Complete buffering, blue screen of death. And what came out was medium hot the latte.
Medium hot the latte.
I hate myself.
Okay, but here's the thing. The barista understood you. You got your latte, right?
Yes.
So, mission accomplished?
I mean, I did get the latte.
Communication happened. That is the actual goal of language, not perfection. Connection.
But it sounded so bad.
To who? She's already made 40 lattes since then. She doesn't remember. The only person who's still thinking about medium hot the latte right now is you.
Yeah, that's fair.
This is the thing. When we make a mistake, we think everyone noticed, everyone judged us, everyone's still thinking about it. But they're not. We're the only ones replaying it on loop.
It's so lonely being inside my brain sometimes.
I know, but you're getting out of it slowly. That's the whole point. Okay, so I want to name the real enemy here because it's not your vocabulary, it's not your grammar, it's not even your accent.
Then what is it?
The gap.
What gap?
The gap between how you understand English and how you use English in real time. Think about it. You understand almost everything I say right now, right?
Pretty much, yeah.
You can watch a movie in English with no subtitles,
Usually. Sometimes I miss things if people talk really fast.
but mostly your comprehension is solid.
Yeah.
But the moment someone points a camera at you or puts you in a real conversation, something shuts down.
Everything shuts down.
That's the gap, and it's incredibly common, especially for people who learned English mostly through reading, studying, watching, rather than actually talking. Your brain has absorbed the language, but it hasn't been trained under pressure. It's like you've watched 1,000 hours of swimming videos. You understand every stroke technically, but you've never actually been in the deep end.
And someone just threw me in.
Every single day. Coffee shops, work meetings, phone calls.
Oh, God, don't even talk to me about phone calls.
Oh, we're talking about phone calls.
No.
We are absolutely talking about phone calls.
Okay, fine. Last week, I had to call my internet company to report a problem, and I knew the moment it went to a real person, I was going to panic. So I spent 15 minutes writing out exactly what I was going to say.
That's actually smart prep.
I wrote it on paper with a pen, like a script.
Okay, that's also fine.
And I practiced reading it out loud 3 times.
Okay.
And then they answered, and the first thing the guy said was, "Hi there, thanks for calling. Can I get your account number first?"
And your script didn't start with the account number.
My script started with, "Hello, I am calling because my internet is not working." Deadpan, he broke my script in the first sentence.
He broke the script.
I completely panicked. I was flipping through my paper, looking for the account number and trying to talk at the same time, and I said, what did I say? I said, "Yes, 1 moment, please. I am searching for the account."
I'm searching for the account.
And then there was silence, a very long silence, and I could feel him waiting. And the more I felt him waiting, the more my hands started shaking, and the more my hands shook, the harder it was to read my own handwriting.
And then?
I just read out the number. He fixed my internet. Everything was fine.
Sarah,
What?
you handled it.
Barely.
Barely counts. You didn't hang up. You didn't pretend to not speak English. You stayed in the conversation. That's huge.
I did think about pretending to not speak English.
I know. Everyone has thought about that.
Really?
Every language learner has a moment where they almost say, sorry, no English, and escape. The brave ones stayed in it.
I didn't feel brave. I felt like I was going to pass out.
Bravery doesn't feel heroic from the inside. It just feels like staying when everything in you wants to run. That landed. Okay, let's get practical, because I don't want people watching this to feel emotional and then leave with nothing.
Good, because I need actual help.
Okay, first thing, and this sounds almost too simple, slow down.
People always say that.
Because it works. When you freeze, you rush. You feel like silence is embarrassing, so you try to talk fast to fill it, and then the wrong words come out. Instead, pause. 1 or 2 seconds. Nobody notices as much as you think.
I literally feel like every extra second of silence is a crime.
It's not. Fluent speakers pause all the time. We say we say let me think, we say hang on. You're allowed to do the same.
What else?
Stop translating.
I can't help it.
I know, but the translation step is what causes the delay. You hear English, you translate it into your first language, you think of the answer in your first language, you translate it back. By then, 3 seconds are gone.
So how do you stop?
Practice thinking in English, even for 1 minute a day. Narrate your life, just in your head. I am making coffee. The coffee smells good. I am going to be late. Stupid small things. It trains your brain to live in English, not just visit it.
I've actually tried that and I feel crazy.
You'll feel crazy for about a week. Then it starts to feel normal.
Okay, what else?
Embrace the imperfect sentence. Seriously. Medium hot the latte. She understood you. I am searching for the account. He waited. Imperfect sentences still work. The goal is not to sound like a textbook. The goal is to be understood.
Be understood, not be perfect.
Not be perfect, never perfect. Even native speakers aren't perfect. I say constantly. I start sentences and change direction halfway through. Real language is messy.
That's actually kind of a relief.
And last thing, and this is important, you have to practice being scared, not avoid the scary situations. Go to them, not because it feels good, because every time you survive one, even messily, your brain files it as, okay, we did that, we lived, and next time it's slightly less terrifying.
So the cure for freezing is to freeze, survive, and do it again?
The cure for freezing is to freeze, survive, and do it again.
Terrible advice.
It's the only advice that works. Can I say something serious for a second?
That sounds scary, but okay.
I've watched you in the year that we've been doing this, and I want you to hear something. You are so much further than you think you are.
Jake?
No, I mean it. The Sarah who I met a year ago would have never called the internet company. She would have texted someone else to do it. She would have avoided the coffee shop and made coffee at home. The fact that you're in those situations, even when they're imperfect, even when you say medium hot the latte,
Please stop bringing that up.
means that you are doing it. And doing it imperfectly is 100 times better than not doing it at all.
I really just want to talk to people, like a normal person, without this big wall of anxiety between me and English.
I know, and that wall gets smaller every single time you walk through it.
It doesn't feel smaller.
I know it doesn't from the inside, but from the outside, I'm watching it, and it's smaller.
A beat of silence. Real. Thank you. Genuinely.
You're doing it, Sarah. One medium hot the latte at a time.
I'm going to haunt you for that.
Okay, before we go, we want to hear from you.
Yes, because I know I'm not the only one with a disaster story. I know someone watching this has a moment that still makes them cringe at 2 a.m.
So tell us in the comments, what is the most awkward English moment you've had? Phone call, job interview, ordering food, first day at work?
Tell us, seriously, it will make me feel so much better about the latte.
And if this video helped you feel even a tiny bit less alone in this, share it with one friend who needs to hear it. It might mean more to them than you know.
We'll see you next week. I'll try to order a coffee before then and report back.
She's going to practice.
I'm going to practice.
Take care of yourselves, everyone.
Bye.